In today's video, I'm going to show you some of my top picks to build a lightweight 10Cs survival kit, and I'm also going to show you what I consider the 10C's fatal flaw, so stick around, it's going to be a cool video. Alright guys, so right off the bat, thanks for watching. If you like this content, consider subscribing. Please check out the affiliate links down below. Go to the Facebook group, Prepared Wander, and join there. Over 7,000 members and growing every day. And of course, preparedwander.com for more content. So I want to get right into it. I've been wanting to make this video for a while, and there's been some activity on the Facebook group when people have been talking about the 10Cs and really good discussion about it, and it really got me thinking about it. You know, if you're in this whole game of bushcraft survival, studying this stuff and practicing it and just, you know, going out and learning it, you're going to be familiar with Dave Canterbury, and you're going to be familiar with the 10Cs. It's the list that he came up with, that he developed, and that he has been teaching at his school and on his videos. And I want to say right off the bat, this is not a bashing video of Dave Canterbury or the 10Cs by any stretch of the imagination, because I will say one thing about Dave Canterbury: he has done so much for the outdoor community as far as getting people out in the woods and making them feel comfortable. And he is a fantastic teacher. If you've seen any of his lectures or watched his videos, you will know that. So can't fault the man there. But there are always ways to improve things, and it's always a good idea to look at other stuff, and that's what I want to do today. I'm going to show you some things that I've picked out that I put in a 10Cs kit, what I consider 10Cs, and then I want to talk about also some of the issues with the 10Cs and how they can be improved. So before we get into the kit, I'm not going to go in depth on the whole philosophy of the 10Cs. Go back and watch Dave's videos, read his books, attend one of his classes, whatever. There's all that information out there. But the 10Cs really are a kind of an easy to remember, quick guide to basic survival. So if you have these 10 items, you can thrive in a survival situation in the woods. All right, so let's go into the items on the list immediately. So first thing off the bat, Dave always recommends a cutting tool. He shows a Mora Garber quite a bit in a lot of his videos, and of course he has his own knives that he sells on his shop, but I really prefer the ESEE over most knives. It is the perfect balance of size and durability, full tang, high carbon steel. Just a fantastic blade, very comfortable in the hand, but also it is lightweight, but incredibly sturdy. And of course the guarantee on these is incredible with ESEE. They will take care of you if you break this or damage it in any way. Second item on the list is a combustion device. So of course we always recommend Ferro Rods in the survival kits because they work all the time in any condition, but as a backup, of course, a Bic lighter, why not? Might as well have one. They work in most conditions, but they do fail at some point in cold and altitude. And then along with the combustion device, I always like to have, just as a backup, some man-made tinders. You can either buy commercial ones or make your own, but they just help getting a fire going so quickly, and they don't take up a lot of room, so why not have them? Next item on the list is cover. Now Dave likes to recommend a Mylar type heavy duty grabber blanket, space blanket that is coated on one side and is big enough to make a shelter. But I prefer rain poncho. Rain ponchos can be turned into shelters pretty easily. And if you were in the military, of course, you know this because you've done it before. I really like this one. This is from Onewind. It is a sill nylon rain poncho that is big enough to actually cover myself and turn it into a shelter. And of course, the reason we have cover is because we want to thermoregulate ourselves. We want to stay dry, and if we're dry, we stay warm. Next item on the list is a container. Now for a lightweight kit, I really like these little mess tins. You can get these from Trangia, or you can get them on Amazon. This is the one that I've chosen. I've actually cooked in it and boiled water in it. It works extremely well, and the handle is removable, so you can actually put this in the fire and create char material with it if you have to. Now, on Dave's videos, he's always recommending his Pathfinder bottle. I don't have one of those, but I do have this Clean Canteen 40-ounce single wall bottle. This one just happens to be painted black, but it can go into a fire, it can boil water, so multiple uses for that. Next on the list is the cotton bandana. Cotton bandanas, of course, have multiple uses for first aid, for treating wounds, for filtering water, all kinds of different uses. Of course, they can be cut up and turned into char material, and Dave usually shows a larger shamag style bandana that he uses, but for me, I prefer just a good old-fashioned cotton bandana. They're inexpensive. I usually have multiples on me, one on me and one in my bag. Next item is cargo tape, and cargo tape, I would recommend the Gorilla Tape probably over duct tape, just because it seems to work so much better. I just keep a bunch of it on a card so it's flat and takes up very little space for a lightweight kit. But there is another alternative, and this also goes into the next item, which is the cloth sail needle. And then this is a multi-purpose item, so you can get rid of several things and carry it all in one kit. This is from Exotac. This is the Ripspool, and what's so awesome about this is this has the needle that Dave talks about. So it has a good quality needle in it, big one right there. But it also, look at all that tape you have, plus on top of all that you have thread all ready to go. It's just a very nice compact, lightweight option. And then of course compass is on the list, and I really like these wrist compasses from SUUNTO. They work extremely well. They're very lightweight, they're good quality, and they're easy to operate because you can put them on your wrist and navigate that way. That way you're not pulling it in and out of your pocket or from around your neck. You just hold up your wrist, look down, and you can get a direction going pretty quickly. Another item on the list is the candling device, and what he means by that is the candling device is a headlamp. Always choose a headlamp over a flashlight. For obvious reasons, you're able to operate in camp or on trail hands-free, and that's really the key. And I really like this Petzl E-Light because it has several brightness settings, but also it has a strobe feature for signaling, but then it also has red, which is fantastic for not killing your night vision, especially when you're navigating at night. And of course the last item is cordage. And Bankline is really the way to go because it is so much lighter weight than 550 cord. It is very strong, and you can carry a lot of it. Now this is a small hunk. I would carry much more than this in a kit, but for a lightweight kit that's all going to fit in a container, this is the way to go. It takes up so much less room than 550 cord. So we've covered all the items on the 10C's list. Pretty basic stuff, all makes sense, all good stuff, but there are a few things that I have issue with, and it's because of probably my training. Where I come from, my background was search and rescue. When I was getting into it before the 10C's, before Dave Canterbury was even around, or on the scene, there was this thing called the 10 Essentials. And the 10 Essentials, if you're not familiar with that, was developed way back in the 1900s, early 1900s, by a mountaineering club. And of course, with a mountaineering club, their consideration was keeping people safe who were in the mountains. Of course, the weather and the climate is much different than it is here in the eastern United States. You needed to have other considerations that you would not necessarily have to worry about here as much. So the 10Cs really seem to be adapted from the 10 Essentials, but the 10 Essentials have a few extra things or I should say different things that I find much more useful, and I think they're critical. And I think the number one thing that lacks in the 10Cs is first aid. First aid is such an important item, and it's for obvious reasons. If you're out in the woods hiking with a group or by yourself, there is real chance of injury, either from sprains or falls. Of course, when we're out in the woods, we're working with tools such as knives and saws and axes. Great mechanism for injury there. So not having basic first aid items and training on your list just doesn't make sense to me. And of course, that once again, that comes back to being in search and rescue and how that kind of stuff was hammered into us. But even in a small lightweight kit like this haversack that I'm carrying today, a basic first aid kit that has tape and moleskin, some gauze pads, basic bandages, disinfecting wipes, things like that is really crucial to treat myself or someone in my group. Now, of course, you can add a lot more to a first aid kit, but just having a basic kit like this is going to help, and I think it's necessary. And when the 10 Essentials was developed, and a lot of the lists that have come out after that that are based on the 10 Essentials, a lot of times they will show or talk about a multi-tool style knife like a Victorinox Swiss Army knife. That is pretty much a standard for hikers and mountaineers, climbers. You know, every camper, hiker, backpacker I know usually has some type of Swiss Army knife. But another consideration for a lightweight kit, instead of having that large full tang 4-inch blade knife, is going with a good quality multi-tool. There's a lot of benefits to a multi-tool. This is a SOG. It's a fantastic tool. You know, of course, with a knife and a saw on it as well, and other tools, but the pliers can really come in handy, especially when you have to do things like remove fish hooks. Just a lot of variety of tasks that you can be doing. So that's kind of a breakdown of some items I would choose for a lightweight kit, and some items that I think need to be switched out, because with Dave's list, it's very heavy on repair items like tape and needles. But for me, you know, I don't use tape that often. It can be used for some first aid, but it's not something I prefer. To me, a decent first aid kit with the other 9 items is a great switch out and something that I always consider. But thanks for watching. I'm going to get out of here. Leave some comments down below. Let me know what you have in addition to your 10C kit that you put in your bag for hiking and camping and bushcrafting. And we will see you next time on The Prepared Wanderer.